Okay, we're at 102. So, hello everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time. My name's Lizzy. So I came from the Tom Tool organization in Remax. So what Josh asked me to do is lead this because this is a lot of what my previous work group, what we preached out, what we were talking about a lot. But it's going to be about maximizing our momentum, and end all be all. What I want this to kind of focus on is that our clients are super important, and we want them to feel special. And the more that you make somebody feel special, the more they're going to buy into you and your heart, and like they're going to want to be with you and work with you, etc. Okay. So speed to lead, why it matters more than ever. So look at the tech world, right? On our phones, you could text people, you could FaceTime people, you could email people. Literally, if you're one girlfriend, if you're anything like me, and like driving home from a deal or something, you're all worked up, and you call somebody to finish. You call that first friend, and guess what? That first friend doesn't answer the phone. So you got a backup friend. You call that backup friend, and then you call your mom, then you call your cousin. End all be all. Sometimes we all have something that's on our chest or something that we need. And now with all the technology that's in our hands, if you don't pick up that phone, they're going somewhere else, right? So we need to make sure that we get back to people right away because, again, in this world, if you're not getting back to them, there are 27 million other resources and realtors and referral sites and Facebook groups that will throw them 25 other realtors that are completely different than yourself. Clients are expecting, the fastest response. They can send a text message in 2 minutes. So I was taking, believe it or not, 10 minutes. People will, right? They're sitting at their kitchen table and, they're showing their spouse and they're like, oh my God, Carl, look at this house. Oh, it's great. Let's go see it together. And then, finally get Carl to want to go see the house with us. And we put in the inquiry and it takes somebody 15 minutes to get back to you. You know what happens in those 15 minutes? What happens?
On that other subject.
Yeah. Move on to another subject. You get bored. All of a sudden you're on a Facebook group and then you're talking to your cousin's realtor. Right? Because somebody took 15 minutes to get back to you. And in that 15 minutes, they're gone. You're an afterthought. You might have been super nice and all that kind of stuff, but you might not have gotten back to them quick enough. So if you're not first, you might be last. First response often wins. That's just the truth of the matter. How many clients have we gotten or spoken to that they're just like, wow, you're the first one we really told that. Or like we meet them at an open house, they're like, oh wow, you're so friendly, or you're so this, or you're so that, because not, we have to kind of assume that there are a lot of agents out there that don't go that extra step that we do.
Is that recording for you?
I have no idea.
I think it's on Zoom. Yeah, Andrew's working on it.
So first response often wins. So if we're not first, a lot of times we're last. Another thing that I'll say is, when you're in pain, right? Anybody ever hurt themselves? Or you're not feeling good? Got a chest cold. First thing that you might do is you're going to call your doctor's office. Your doctor's office most likely will be like, sorry, it's going to be 2 weeks before you get in. You know that you have that rasping cough. So guess what you do? You show up to urgent care. Your doctor's office just lost your business. The same exact thing happens with the state. Okay. Speed equals trust. Trust is professionalism and momentum. So, honestly, the quicker you can get back to people, the more that they're going to realize that you feel like, they're important. You're making them feel important, and it's just going to keep that. So, okay. Yep, we already talked about that. So, okay. So buyers and sellers, they're contacting multiple agents. They know multiple agents, right? Everybody's got a cousin in the business. Everyone's got a friend in the business. So what are you going to do to make yourself stand out? Try to make sure that you're on top of it. You're making them feel important. Back from my Mary Kay days, one thing that Mary Kay always said is pretend like your client has, like a banner across their chest that says, make me feel important. So that's really what everyone is they want someone to hear them, they want someone to listen to them, and they want someone to make them a priority. So a lot of times, we forget about each other. We forget to make other people feel important. Leads, they move on within minutes, not days. So again, you wait, overnight to get back to somebody because you got to leave at 5 p.m. Very well, we have to 5 p.m. Or, we didn't take the time to respond back to that text, or even just write them back and be like, hey, thanks so much for getting back to me. I'll be glad to set up that tour for you tomorrow. Et cetera. If we don't get back to them now, they're going to move on. Automation could be really, really helpful. So I got some examples of that going down. But basically, humans convert. So We all know what canned text messengers look like at this point, right? We probably get like 3 of them a day. There's a big difference between a canned text message and actually getting them from a person, and making sure that you're putting in things about that individual. Like not just, hey, Susie, I'm so glad you reached out. Hey, Susie, thanks for reaching out for registering on my Facebook group about this thing. Hey, Susie, thank you for coming to my open house at 123 Banana Street. I really enjoyed speaking to you and your husband. Let me know if you're still looking for houses in that area, because let's talk about it. So, automation isn't going to know these things, right? There probably are systems that can write it, but at the end of the day, it's going to be our details and our things that we do to bring that up to the next level.
Hello and good morning, John.
Okay, so next up here, sorry, is just literally an example of some of the little extra dorky things that I try to do. Anytime that I'm meeting a client for the first time or I haven't met them before, I shoot a little video. Awkward and cringe while I listen to myself, but it lets the client know what I look like, what my name is, that I'm real, and that, I'm not a gremlin. I'm totally, I'm like the same person that's on my picture, I have glasses on and my hair back. But then it'll be all, we want to make people feel a little bit special. So this is a video that I just shot for a client that Chris handed over to me. So I met them at an open house, but I haven't met them before, so I just wanted to say hi. So he knew he was meeting beyond a person in white SUV.
Hello and good morning, John. This is Lizzy. I just wanted to take a moment to introduce myself and let you know that I'm very excited to be meeting you there on Andover Court at 12 noon. Let me know if anything changes, but if not, I'll see you there and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Okay. See, 20-second video. Really painful for me to watch and listen to.
That's pretty cool, though.
Exactly, but I'm sure if you guys were the client, you'd appreciate that, right? I mean, it literally takes 30 seconds, and you can ask Kevin and Luke. I was just doing this in the room. I'm calling all the new leads, so I'm calling them, texting them, and then I'm sending them a little personalized video. 20 seconds. It's painful, it's hard, but it's going to make them feel special. And then my response rate on those is so much higher. Even if that person's just literally getting back to me and just like, hey, I'm not going to buy in the next 2 years. They freaking got back to me. And how many times have we called and texted and emailed people for months and months and weeks and years and never get back? But to put out a little video like this, maybe challenge yourself right after and send out 5 weeks. What's it really going to hurt? Okay. Why it's critical in our market. So basically, I'm in Pennsylvania, so Delaware and Chester County right now, they're super competitive. Our inventory sucks. Can't speak on Delaware as much as you folks can. But homes are moving quickly. And so, the more that we hesitate, the more that our client hesitates, and the more likely that, you're going to call the listing agent and be like, hey, it did just go under contract. That literally happened with the last 2 showings I just set up. And it wasn't even on the MLS yet. So, was that necessarily a matter of me being slow? Maybe a little bit. Could have possibly been a communication thing too, that perhaps if I would have picked up the phone, before I was requesting that tour and said, hey, my client's interested in seeing this property today at 2, maybe we would have made me aware of the home for deadline or something. But again, speed to lead is not necessarily just with our clients, but talk to the other agent too. They might be able to share something with you. They might be able to shoehorn something in, and, occasionally we get a super honest, blunt agent that's just like, hey, I know the house is listed for 420, nudge, nudge, but get me an offer in the high 3s, and I think we can make this happen, right? And you wouldn't know that unless you talk to that agent. And how important is that? Like, if you could potentially be saving your customer, $20,000-$30,000 on that property, and the fact that you could tell them that confidently and work with them through that process, that's gonna make them feel great. And again, fast response. So, the quicker we can get back to people, the better. Okay. So auto-generated responses, like we said, they're a starting point, but the human factor is going to be the difference. It's all great to have, manual text messages. I already got 3 from real because I went to an open house over the weekend and I registered rather than my client because, of course, we want to be the one that gets spam, not them. So we don't want anyone else to scoop in and steal our clients. But the text messages, they were canned. They were unpersonal. I knew that the agent wasn't sending them. And literally, I filled out my first name as Lizzy Client, and the text message came through Lizzy Client. Or like Lizzy Agent. And it's like, right off the bat, I know within 2 seconds that it's not a person. Like, my value for them, if I was a client, just go down 2 steps because, it didn't take 2 seconds to read that before you went out. That means that I obviously Lizzy Client was the agent. Clients want a real person. You know, people sell, people help them, and people back them up. And fast and personal follow-up just makes them feel that much more conveyed in everything, conversations versus canned messages. So, you know, like open it up to you guys. Like what kind of success and everything have you had to this? Like, do you resonate with this? Do you feel like this all makes sense to you? You know, what do you do to set yourself apart from machines?
Just actually. And stabilities. We're really trying to push that voice to voice because we can always text, we can always email, and what you gotta have a voice to this conversation, belly to belly, so that they can know what it's that, you know, hey, I'm here to help you. I'm a real person.
Exactly. Exactly. So, you know, voice is going to be better than text. You know, in person is going to be slightly better than call. And, you know, a FaceTime is going to be slightly better than, you know, voice. But all of those, you know, they're that much better. You know, has anybody ever had a silent fight with somebody over a text message? Or, you know, you read the text message and somebody just writes back, okay. Do they like me? Is that just the way that they talk? You truly don't know. And some people, you know, writing back okay or something that's short and trite, to someone like me, I'm a flowery over talker. So if somebody writes me back short responses, I'm thinking, oh shit, do they hate me now? What's gonna mess up? Whereas, you know, the more that I could get to actually speak to them, hear what they're saying, I can hear that intonation, and then that allows me to continue through it. Anybody else?
I would say honesty is also very important
Mhm.
for the human connection. Because when you're like talking to an agent and you can like sense that they're honest with you and they're 100% with you, it just makes you that much closer.
Exactly. Exactly. Like, hey, you know, I own a property myself in this neighborhood. You know, like I really like this neighborhood. Or, you know, I've had several other clients looking here recently. There are some closings here. You know, I'm very familiar with it. You know, like that park down the street, super adorable. They just put a new slide in. Did you see it yet? Or they just put down what is it, like the rubber concrete stuff in there. Super cute playground.
I think it depends on the age of it. I'm straight up old school. You know, so I know that my younger clients would prefer to text than talk. And I have older clients who rather a phone call than a text.
Exactly.
So I just kind of, you know, customize it. I prefer to talk to someone because I just don't, I'm like you, my text messages are like 5 pages long.
Exactly. And then it's not a
By the
text.
time I'm
Yeah.
done, it's like,
This could have been faster if we were on the phone.
right. And I'll say that sometimes, like, especially for my I call them my babies, my younger clients. All right, look, I'm gonna call you because by the time I finish this, you know, so can we just talk 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Because I just can't do the.
Exactly.
So it's just age appropriate. I guess I customize it based on the client.
100%. And I mean, there are times too that sometimes it's the end of the night or the endless ride. You're just exhausted. And I'll write to my client exactly like, hey, do you want to have a 2-minute conversation, or is it okay if I bullet you out a couple of text message? And then depending on the client, you know, they'll buzz ring you real quick. I'm like, no, you're good. Just bullet it to me, because you know, a lot of times, you know, after 5, they probably worked an entire day too. You know, or they just got rid of, you know, taking their kid to and from hockey practice and 5 other things. And, you know, they're just as tired as we are. But I 100% agree with you, you know, with the continual conversations, totally what works best for them. I totally agree with you that, honestly, like my first 6 months, I was almost afraid to text people because I almost felt like that was cheating. But now I realize that you're right. When that person's, I don't want to say their love language, but that's like they're getting back to language and that's how they communicate. Now we need to cater it to them. And if that's what they're more familiar with, let's go for it. If, you know, that's how they get back to you. Some folks don't, you know, they're not into the social skills of the phone, or it's just not their norm, or maybe they talk all day on the phone. So the last thing that they want to do is talk to you. That was me when I was in phone skills. I did not want to speak to anyone after I was done reading.
Said all my words at work.
Yeah.
I say all the time.
Right.
Exactly.
And a lot of things get misconstrued in text.
It does.
And,
Tone and everything.
And that's very important, because sometimes you need to really get that point across.
Yes.
Like, get off your, like, tell me what you want. You know,
Exactly.
you know, can we not be around the bush, but, or even just, you know, you didn't mean certain things a certain way, because some people can really be, especially like agent to agent, like sometimes you do just really need to have, sometimes you just can't get them on the phone. Then you have to write a nasty gram And then they'll be like, what the hell?
I've heard that term.
And then
That's great.
the next gram, they're like, no, I've been calling you. Like, what the hell? Like, you know, we could have solved this with just a phone call. But
Yeah, and sometimes we have better relationships with the agent's admin than we do with the agent.
Oh, I have a
Right?
transaction
Like,
right now where I
yeah.
barely ever talk to the listing agent at all, but their admin is carrying us to settlement.
Right, on the seller side. And just food for thought, I literally do the same type of video whenever I put it in order. So I put in a little video, hey, this is Lizzy with Keller Williams and Power, just reaching out to let you know we're about to, my clients, currently signing papers right now to put in an offer for your property for 123 Banana. Super excited to potentially be working with you. Let me know any questions you have on the offer. There might be anything we need to tweak in order to make this a winner. And again, that's another thing that I feel like, especially in my first year when I was out there, that helped me get more offers accepted. Because it took me out of the box because, when somebody looks you up on the MLS and you got less than 10 sales in that first year, you're kind of questioning, the strength of their offer. You're questioning the solidity of everything. But, when I took it that extra step up and, called like the level up, I did the level up, I put myself out there, forced myself to do the video. I feel like it helps set me apart and let that agent know that I'm a person and that, I want to work with them, for them, et cetera. I think that's really what it is. We want to help each other out.
Yes, you co-work.
Exactly. Let's sell houses together. So that is my entire presentation, but, in a nutshell, I didn't ask many questions as anticipated, but, in a nutshell, what I would honestly say, challenge yourself. I'm going to say challenge yourself to try to put out, 5 videos, whether it be between today and tomorrow, little short ones. Thank your clients. So, whether it be your close client bucket, whether it be, brand new clients you've never met before, and you've been calling them and texting them for months, and you just want them to get back to you. Do one for them. For somebody that's, on the fence and in the middle that you've been shown properties for the last 6 months, just like, hey, it's been a while since we chatted, or, I just wanted to reach out just to say howdy, happy Wednesday. I'm so glad to be working with you. Did you see that new property that showed up on Rollins? Because, hey, if you want to go see a tour of it, I'd love to go see it. I saw the property and I thought of you. What other questions or best practices you guys have with that? Or let me ask this, who's lost a lead they feel because they didn't get back to them?
I think you all know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially, I don't know, I used to get a lot of leads from, which I don't know who gets leads from there, but good luck to you. But,
What was it?
Realtor.com.
Oh, really?
We were fighting with 3 other agents.
yeah. I mean, literally though. So one time I made a phone call and it was my niece. She said, Auntie T, you are the 15th person that called me on this. I said, I'm sorry. 15 people called, so yeah, I think those are so watered down. Sometimes it's hard to get through, but also I've actually gotten some leads from when someone has talked to 18 other realtors and somehow me and that person connected, and I have overcome those challenges too. So I think person to person, man. But again, I'm old school, so that's all I know.
Exactly.
I prefer.
Yeah. And you have to think about what all of those 15 other agents are saying. They're probably saying the same exact thing over and over and over. And maybe by the time you called, they were like, I'm done with real estate altogether.
Yeah.
So they didn't even want to hear you out.
Exactly. Yeah.
One of the lines I recently heard that was actually kind of funny was that you call them up, especially those leads that are realtor.com, you go, hey, look, I know you're gonna hate me, but before you hang up, I'm a realtor.
It's so disarming.
And they're like, because they're like, oh no, I'm not gonna hang up on you now.
Like, I'm not going to prove you right.
You're gonna hate me, I'm a realtor, but
You just have that.
he's got throwing it in. I know I'm a piece of shit, but guess what?
You have like golden retriever mentality.
10 minutes, give me 15 minutes, I'll save you 10%.
Your honesty and everything, that's what makes you you. And I personally, I love that stuff. That self-deprecation, whatever that might be
I'm
called.
gonna be brutally honest.
Exactly.
You're gonna hate it.
You
It's
gotta
okay.
be able to smile at yourself a little bit. I'm not into people that take themselves too seriously. But so you folks, let's put ourselves in the shoes of like a client. a first-time home buyer, whatever the situation may be. You put in a lead at Realtor.com. Which agent are you gonna call back? Are you gonna call back or you try to work with the agent that sent you a video, the one that sent you a text message, the one that keeps calling you every 2 minutes? Who do you think you're gonna call back first?
The one that acts like a person,
Exactly.
not the one that sounds automated or.
Exactly.
Hey,
So
looks
probably not
looks
like
like
that.
you're interested in
And-
123 Main Street. Are you looking to buy right now? Like, that's just uncomfortable.
I don't like a pushy.
Me neither.
So I don't call myself a salesperson, although you are in sales. And I don't like a pushy person. And I always try not to push. So I think that works for me. You know, like I can't do, you know, because a lot of people think that we're like car.
Like car salesman.
Yeah, like car. I said, so hold on. I'm not a car salesperson. You know, what I'm selling you is a value. You know, and I'll explain that, you know, but, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then, okay. And then somehow they'll be calling back in like 3 days. Miss T, you know, so yeah. But I don't do the sales pitch. I can't. I've learned that you ask questions and I listen. And as they tell me what their needs are, what they've been through, whatever, then I'm able to pick up on that and elaborate on that. And then we form some type of connection.
Exactly. When a client tells you their story, you know, a lot of times they're telling you exactly what they need by telling you what might have failed in the past or what might have not worked, and then you know what to do the complete opposite.
Yeah.
You know, that it's, you know, they're telling you like, hey, you know, the agent would call me once a week and didn't have anything to say, or, you know, they never called me. Or, you know, listen to what people tell you because 95% of the time they tell you exactly what they want and what they need, but we're not listening. And we hear them, but we might not be listening. So we really, really want to listen to what they say. You know, what other best practices do we have?
What I find too also, I know that when I first started in real estate, my niche, I'll just say this, my niche is first time home buyers. But I realized everybody's not a first time home buyer. So I had to not always start like no one has, that person online has never bought a house. And that has helped me tremendously because then I changed my conversation and I'm not so elementary with everything. And then I realized I have either a seller or somebody who's looking to buy their second home. So I had to change how my approach because I think everybody's a first time home buyer. You know, but not everybody is, you know, so it's, that's been a learning lesson for me to kind of get a level of their knowledge about the buying process. And then again, I'm able to mirror that or piggyback on that and now take it to the next level.
But I feel like you still have a strong point with that because, you know, treating almost everybody like a first time home buyer in many cases, I feel like that checks off the boxes for most because even if you bought a home, probably 5+ years down the road, you bought the house. How much do you really remember? Like I remember when I bought my house in 2020 and, you know, I could barely remember anything about the transaction. It was my transaction, you know. Whereas, you know, now me going through the second time, me being a realtor, it's going to be different. But, you know, I feel like if I wasn't, I would be straight ignorant again.
Well, of course you would, because the realtor takes on all the crazy stuff on the back end. So most buyers don't know enough. I mean, maybe if they're like high Ds where they're like super numbers oriented or kind of control freaks, that might be a little bit different. But I mean, some people do know and retain some knowledge, but I feel like most people don't.
Exactly.
And even just to like hold on to like those people, you know, you get their name, you check back with them like after so much time. Because some people just don't transact. Right then and there. They don't click with that person, maybe it wasn't the right time for them. I've picked up leads. I picked up closing leads just by following up with people after getting the initial lead maybe 5 years ago.
I know agents that their whole business is built upon staying in contact with both sides of the transaction after it closes. So like just dropping stuff by on the house, like I'm the agent for this area, whatever, even if they didn't represent the seller. I mean, after settlement, you don't have any agency agreements in place. Everything's fair game. I won't say that's the cleanest way to go about anything, but I know some that do it.
They're orphaned.
Yeah.
They're orphaned. Yeah. The transaction, the agency relationship ends.
Yeah.
Another thing that Chris brought up recently that I'm also challenging myself to do is when you're talking to the client, ask them something really inexpensive about themselves that you can kind of do. Okay, what's your favorite beverage? How do you like your coffee? And then literally just showing up, like give them a little wink, like, hey, got you that Starbucks, 3 cream, double shot, blonde espresso, blah, 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 blah. And for 2 minutes, you are the coolest freaking agent they've ever met in their lives because you listened to them and you brought them a stupid $5 coffee. And that
Just like Chris.
Yeah, it's just like it.
I'm learning, right?
I was looking for the door.
I know, I'm like,
But that's
A lot of
another
back,
way
I get this.
that's just another way to set yourself apart, make them feel special, and keep your dollar amount down.
Yeah.
Because that's another mistake I made in my first year is trying to invest in a lot of things on the outside without having my solid base yet. I went in and spent $2,000 on reminder media and all these other things.
yeah.
So now, through Chris and through KW, now I'm learning more about co-branding. I'm going to be co-branding my next postcards with Bruce, with rates. Rather than spending about $1 per postcard, hopefully I'll be spending say 50 cents per postcard. That's a freaking win because stamps are 8
Ridiculous.
cents now. I literally don't know. I just know it cost me $60. Exactly. There's just considerable difference. But
So you use reminder media at one point?
what's that?
You use reminder media?
Yes. I strongly don't recommend them at all. Not very many nice things to say about it. But I mean, it was a really great service, but end all be all, I had a database of 50 people. I reached out to people after the second magazine dropped, just like, hey, ring, how's everything going? Did you see that article? Like, hey, I picked up Eggplant Farm for the recipe in the mill because I know you're vegetarian. I thought of you. And then literally called the person like, what are you talking about? What magazine?
Ooh.
Yes, then I had to go through and audit my list, get back to Remind Media, and they literally cut me back like 175 right on the spot, like it was nothing. So it's like, oh, okay, so I'm not the only person that's been happening to. So because of that, I'll never do business with them ever again because they clearly had a database of names, addresses. It's not that hard to put together, fill out stuff. So that was my personal story. Somebody else might have a completely different experience, but that's not a company I know. I'm trying to work on, just literally writing out all of my stuff by hand, and just trying to personalize it like that. Because like we talked about on this morning's meeting, like we don't get a million automated stuff, but when you see like an actual handwritten letter or even the fonts that look like they're handwritten, like I'm so much more likely to open it up. Like I know what it looks like when I get a solicitation and I pretty much, throw that away. But if something's handwritten on the front, I'm gonna at least open it. So, you got so much further than the trash can.
Even if you're getting envelopes, you can get color.
Yeah.
And hammer.
Because then it looks like a birthday card or a wedding invitation or something. Yeah.
That is the smart. I have to put
Yeah, you can only box.
I'm not using red. I feel like red is an alarming color to see.
Right,
for
it's
me.
quick bright. Right, it's quick bright.
I know some people have a hard time with black, so just a heads up. For whatever reason, the post office can't always pick up the addresses on it.
I
My
can
friend
see
had
that. I can
issues
see
with
that.
wedding invitations.
You can also do,
Sounds personal.
It wasn't me. It was friend. Thank God.
there's a color theory of like marketing too. So
Yeah.
like you could pick colors based on
Like
the
how you want
emotion,
people-
the emotion they get when they
Oh,
see
okay.
it.
Like your blazer.
Good idea.
That's how I do
That's
my
all
brands
I'm
and stuff.
Yeah.
is color code.
That's how I do it.
Nice.
It's more of like an integrity thing.
The psychology behind it.
It's like it's trustworthy.
Whereas red's more of a power color.
Which is what I do.
I know that sports teams that have red, they're more likely to win. That's power color. It's like,
Don't go for that. It's all about the defense and the offense and what the coach is saying how we want to play.
I say it's all about
He's
the
like, put
stripes.
me in, coach.
No.
Be distracted by the stripes.
Yeah. Don't say that. I'm all green.
That's why Niners get green
You know what I mean?
by a Seahawks. The red doesn't.
Right.
Yeah,
Yellow's friendly.
that's devastating. Oh, I'm so upset about it.
It happens. Okay, so any other additional questions, points, add-ons? Okay, is everybody comfortable in this room about making a video for somebody else to send that out to set yourself apart? Who doesn't want to do it? Because I know nobody's gonna do it. Why not?
I've done it before.
What that?
I've done it before. I don't think it works, in my opinion, from my experience. But being from starting with a team that was social media based, I don't, clients will pick up on tonality and appearance, and they already make their dictation before even. It just depends on, I guess, where the lead comes from, how, how many people are reaching out to the person, and then their set of beliefs, really. Because, like, a lot of leads, if they're from a system like Realtor Zillow, Paid For, anything like that, Off City, they're getting multiple texts or calls.
Well, wouldn't you want to set yourself apart from those multiple texts and calls and brand yourself as the tattooed agent, put yourself right in front of them and say like, hey, I'm freaking fantastic. Look at me, I'm super cool. I'm just saying, I wouldn't want to work.
You're gonna brand
this guy's
yourself
not
that
gonna
way.
take himself too seriously. And again, that's my vibe.
Just send
Like
your
I-
headshot every time.
Yeah.
See if it lands.
I'm with them on that. I'm with you.
I think a landing page with like a cover photo goes a lot longer of a way than, because if I were to send a landing page with a brief text, I feel like that would go a lot further, because now they're going to click on it, then they have their options of what you're selecting them to go to. I feel like that's a stronger lead gen source.
It's kind of similar. Like both of your guys' things are in like similar realms, but like you can tell one is geared more towards who you are as a person, and one's geared more towards how you are. But either way, I feel like they're both standing out amongst the crowds of texts and calls. And
I think what you were saying, which made sense to me, I thought it was cute, because you already working with that client. You already have an appointment. You're going to meet them, whereas he's saying it's like you may be getting a lead, trying to get a lead with the video. In your case, hey, what was this, John, that you're meeting?
Exactly.
Hey, John, how are you? This is so-and-so. We're going to meet it. So I think that's pretty clever. I like that. Now, I just don't know how to make the video and send it.
we'll do another class too.
What are some things you might want to do?
Listen, I'm not gonna get on my soapbox. I need to be social regardless. I'm just so beyond on the curve on that. I need to get with it. So that's why that's a good way to start. I'm gonna do a small video. I can do that, on my own from my phone and just hit send. That's great. Where I have a problem is getting it to the Instagram and the other stuff. But I think that's really cool. Hey, this is Demetrius. We're about to meet at, so. See you later. I think that's awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I think that's great.
Little things to help us stand out, set apart, look a little bit different.
Can I add something? All right. So you're great on the phone, I can tell. Like the way you talk to your clients.
It's
You're
like
not
a
just
warm hug.
Yes.
Demetrius on the phone is like
Yeah.
a warm
You're like a
hug.
mama bear.
Yeah.
So
you have
call you,
such a
call,
Yeah.
call it like it. Instead of maybe doing a visual for you too, you're fighting the visual, do the audio. They already know your voice. If you already left them a message, hey, instead of like leaving them a message on a voicemail, send it as a text. Hey, audio text. Hey, I missed you. I got appointments going on today, but I wanted to touch base with you. Would 4 or 6 o'clock work for you? Shoot me a text and let me know if you're interested in booking that time slot for a call.
I think that sounds like.
You know what I mean? Instead of doing the visual, now you're giving them like the expectation of like, you think that this is working. So now like the chances of them being on board with it, because you're already on board with it, that they might actually engage more. Makes sense?
My other devil's advocate is we've all met an agent that looks nothing like the headshots.
All right.
That is so true.
I'd like to think that's no one in this room. But there are agents out there that literally, you're plus minus 20 years, you're plus minus 20 pounds. You
It's
get
funny.
blonde hair, now you have long brown hair.
I went for a closing like that. I was like, oh, Lee, hey, how you doing?
No, as female,
No,
we
it's-
could be chameleons as females,
Okay.
right? We very true hair color, she's attractive.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything.
This is right. I have one photo for such a long time. I have a short haircut. I think I was like, I don't know, about maybe 95 pounds smaller. And I'm so glad I changed that photo. So thanks to somebody. But now I definitely don't look like my, I agree. There's one agent, I will not say her name, but she'll look nothing like her picture.
Exactly. We
I
all
mean,
know
when I
that.
say
We all.
nothing, I mean NOTHING, nothing like her
You're
photo.
like, when and who was
I'm
that?
like, whoa,
Exactly.
okay.
What's the Photoshop?
Yeah.
No Photoshop.
It's funny because I be seeing some of them doing videos and stuff on Facebook, and I'm like, wait a minute. And I was like, did a little double take the other day. Oh,
Right.
But, so we'll end early, but, end all be all, we live in a technology-based world. So just like if you're in pain, if we don't pick up the phone, if we don't call them, get back to them, however we get back to them in a very quick manner, they're gonna move on to the next one. They're gonna get that dollar, dime a dozen Zillow agent that, might have literally, this is their first tour ever. They might end up with a superstar, from a competitive team. You never know, but, we want to be the first one to try to get back to them, make it a warm, earnest contact. And not just a canned text message, blah, 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 put a little spice on it, put a little something on it that's gonna make it you. And like, hey, like, would I actually read this? Would I actually open this? Would I get back to me? Ask yourself those same hard questions because, hey, we all do have this ego, right? And we all know a lot more than what we think. Right? We're all really, really hard on ourselves, but, you know a lot of the answers already. Sometimes we just gotta challenge ourselves to level up, make that uncomfortable phone call because, once you do, what if, they're just like, hey, I've got the house, I wanna go see it, I'm cash buyer and I'm ready to put it in an offer.
Yeah, that's sweet. That's a nice photo.
That's what I'm putting out into the universe for everybody who's on this
That's right,
training.
that's right.
We're all gonna get a $500,000 cash buyer.
That's right,
who's
y'all.
already
Let's
picked
go
out the
get it.
property.
Let's
They
go
want no
get it.
inspections, right? And they're gonna go in 50K over ask, and they don't want any work.
Let's go get it.
That's what we're gonna wish for everybody. But thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.